course, Andy Barchuk from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again by Steve and Lynn. How's it going tonight?
Oh, it's going, and it's tonight for us, but I imagine most people who would watch this, it's going to be morning or maybe the afternoon, but whenever we get this video up. But with me today, I have my dog, Leia. She's over here joining us because she would probably destroy something if I let her out of my room, and I don't really want to clean up any type of mess today. So she's gonna kind of join in the Cedar Point discussion, and hopefully she don't get too antsy and start howling, because that can happen.
So, tomorrow is Winter Chill Out. You'll be attending, as many of our longtime watchers already know. But it was interesting that Cedar Point this week released a whole lot of information before Winter Chill Out, and kind of expected all this stuff to come out during Winter Chill Out. But we got information about Forbidden Frontier. We got information on new food options. So I guess tonight we're just going to go through it. And I think the biggest news that we have here is we finally get the first idea of what Forbidden Frontier is going to be all about. On the last show, maybe it was the last show, maybe it was the one before that, we kind of speculated that the map was kind of showing the use of the Shoot the Rapids pool. And that has been completely confirmed now, that the adventure, Tony Clark posted a blog, the adventure is going to start with 2 different routes to get over that Shoot the Rapids splash pool. The first one looks like some kind of raft ride, and you kind of compared it to something. What you said it was kind of like what?
Yeah, it kind of, for those of us who I would imagine a great majority of us in the amusement park fan industry have been to Magic Kingdom in Orlando, and it kind of reminds me of how you take a little raft over to that Tom Sawyer Island. Now with this one in the map, it looks like there's some type of rope that's guiding you. Maybe that's just something, I don't know, some type of wall that's going to be up to keep the boats in line, or maybe it's something. It's from how the Forbidden Frontier sounds, it sounds like it's a very interactive attraction. So it might be something where you have to work with your group and like kind of use a rope and pull your boat across the water. Now, no, Siri, I did not summon you. Sorry. But it does make me think it's some type of interactive thing where some type of physical activity is needed, because they do have an alternate route for you to take if for whatever reason, maybe you're not able to do that type of activity that they want you to do, or maybe it's just another way if you don't want to wait in line, because I would imagine a boat can only hold so many people. Mm-hmm. And with it being a new attraction, I would imagine it's going to be pretty popular, the first year, at least the first half of the season. If it ends up being just a complete disaster, which I don't see it being something like that, because it does seem like they are putting a lot of work into this, a lot of thought, and really trying to make this into something that's going to last, unlike Dinosaurs Alive.
And you look at this, and I'm just looking at the map now. And as Tony Clark says, like, you have the raft, you can see some sort of skis, underneath this boat. And then on the side, there's another thing. And he says that you can bounce on this. So maybe this other pathway would be a lot more similar to like how the entranceway to Dinosaurs Alive was. It was kind of bouncy. Yeah,
bouncy bridge type of thing, a floating bridge. And, if you walk, if you jump, you'll feel that thing move. And
I also get the sense of, like, if you know how, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but on the walk up to Mantis/Rougarou, that's a floating bridge, and I always like to jump up and down on that to freak out the people behind me. It doesn't move all that much, but you can definitely feel it when you're walking on that thing. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something more like that to keep it more stable, or if it is going to have a little bit more rock to either of those 2 entryways to Dinosaurs Alive or to Rougarou. So that's the first part. Then we see, right after we posted the last show, a whole lot of websites were posting videos and images from the webcam showing a number of new structures going up on the island, Adventure Island, Millennium Island, whatever you call it now. And we see structures once again being built here. So there's a landing for the boat, and then you have the waterfall portion of this. The whole area is called the Snake River Swamp. So I found that to be interesting too.
Yeah.
Because there's been some rumors of maybe Snake River Falls being pulled out in the future. So maybe this is a way to keep that name there. Maybe it's showing us that Snake River Falls isn't going anywhere. I don't know what that means. But it seems like these waterfalls here are probably from Shoot the Rapids, would be my guess. That those.
Yeah, I can't see them building an entire new structure when most of those canyons were left there, and you would think when they tore down Shoot the Rapids, if they didn't have plans to reuse those, they would have just gotten rid of them then.
Yeah.
I am curious to see how the Shoot the Rapids station is going to be used. Is that where, these boats are going to dock into?
Well, and that's the big question, because the splash pad is completely on the island. So you would have to so if you remember the way Shoot the Rapids was set up, was to get to the island, that first hill would take you up and over, and you would then splash down on that splash pad. So you still need to get over the real river of where Paddle Wheel used to go over. Now they have an access bridge that, maintenance can get over there, but I don't think that's up to code for, general people use.
That's true.
If it could be if you're forming a line out there and you're tapering the number of people that go over, but it's not handicap accessible. It's so you have to think of those things too. So I don't think these rafts, I don't think we have, and maybe this is what you guys are going to find out at Winter Chill Out, is how actually you're going to get over to the island, because you're starting over by Frontier Fling, by Shoot the Rapids. It seems now that seems to be established by what this blog was all about. And then you're going to need to get over to the island. And then once you get to the island, you need to cross more water and get over the Snake River Swamp, as they're calling it. So
now, do we know for sure that this is where we begin?
Well, he implies that.
Because this could maybe.
He says we've received the first bit of the map from Forbidden Frontier. So it's the first bit of the map, but is this step one in the process?
Start? Because there's still, it doesn't really explain how we get to that point, how we cross over to even get to that area. So that makes me wonder, is this a middle portion of the Forbidden Frontier? Are they releasing maps in a certain order? I guess we won't really have a better idea till they release the next piece of the map. And if they're releasing them, with the pieces attaching to each other, then we'll be able to piece things together. But if it pieces something, maybe 2 blocks away, then we're not necessarily going to know where the start, where the end is. Is this something that's going to come in a complete circle and enter and exit within Frontier Trail, or is this something where it's going to enter or exit, where Dinosaurs Alive started?
Because and if you think about it, if you exit there, you already have that walkway set up. You already have the store that you can repurpose for whatever you want to use it for, and have people exit that way. These are, I think these are good questions. If anyone, either you or anyone else, wants to ask people at Winter Chill Out tomorrow, maybe to get some clarification on, and obviously they're always a bit cagey with information. So, but I'll be honest, I think this is off to an excellent start. I think people were expecting people just to go on this island and maybe walk through something, like you said, like Dinosaurs Alive, where there's maybe a couple of people working in there, and it's mostly just walking through and seeing stuff. To me, this first map already gives us, hey, there's already activities here. There's already, a whole lot more theming than I think a lot of people, thought would happen here. They're reusing the, Shoot the Rapids stuff, maybe, changing the water direction a little bit, depending on how it goes. But already, this looks more impressive than I think a lot of people thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I think the more impressive, the other thing is if you remember from the Cedar Fair conference call, they said that this is the type of thing that the whole chain is looking at doing, experiences, different festivals that we're going to talk about later. And we know that Carowinds just closed up their Raft Ride that is coincidentally not on the map this year. So they are either refurbing it, which I find to be doubtful, or they're going to reuse that land for something else. And to me, if they're reusing this, I think that piece of land at Carowinds might be, if Forbidden Frontier does well at Cedar Point, I would not be surprised to see something replicated down at Carowinds, in that front of the park area over there.
I think the same type of thing could happen at King's Dominion now that they announced that Volcano's closing. I mean, Volcano, adventure type attraction, they could take down the roller coaster, turn that. Now, I would much rather have the Volcano roller coaster there, but to keep a structure like that Volcano, they could finish off a lot of the inside of it and make it a pretty cool indoor, type of adventure attraction where the inside of this Volcano has a lot of different activities. I'm sure they could simulate some type of explosion with the Volcano itself.
And if you think of just the queue line was one of the coolest things of Volcano because it was a highly themed queue line. And you could repurpose that into making a trail or something, and you would have to go up and then go down. And realistically, I think there's a whole lot of opportunity here for these types of attractions. But I think it's going to really depend on how well the Cedar Point one does and how far it goes and how much people like it. If people love it, I no doubt think that this is the route of where they want to go. Live, experiential, interactive theater is where where a lot of parks go. You look at Evermore Park out in Utah. The whole park is live, experiential, live action theater. So this might be the future of theme parks. And I think it's real cool that Cedar Point here is on the cutting edge.
I think someone's a little bored of some Cedar Point talk. I'm gonna open the door and hope she doesn't destroy my house.
So when you come back, we are going to talk about here the new food options at Cedar Point. And like I said before, we did get a whole new list of food options. So let's start with what we already predicted. And that was, they tore out Witch's Wheel. And we kind of said on one of the previous shows that we thought that a new restaurant would go there. That'd be a perfect spot for a new restaurant because if people are going out of the park, there's not a whole lot of food options for people going back to the hotels or out to the water park. So it's now announced that they are officially doing a new barbecue restaurant, and that is called Back BQ. And it's going to be, like I said, a barbecue restaurant, a Motown-inspired eatery. Smoked brisket, rotisserie chicken, pork platters, southern sides like okra, cornbread, mac and cheese. So they're doing a southern thing here, a Motown thing, which I thought was a little bit interesting.
It's something different. It doesn't fit with any type of theming in the area, but I mean,
you got that boardwalk feel, but I don't know what that boardwalk feel ever was. It never felt like a boardwalk to me. So
yeah, it feels more like if we're talking where the Gemini, because it's also where the Gemini Midway is, and that seems to me like more of like a carnival type atmosphere.
But I will say
going one way and a boardwalk to a beach going the other way. So
I will say that the signage that they put up for Lake Erie Eagles, for Monster, and for Pipe Scream all have like a 70s feel to them. If you think of those logos, so maybe that's what they're trying to tie in. I don't know. I think it's a great idea to put a barbecue place there, especially if it's a sit-down restaurant. There is no sit-down restaurant anywhere near there. The closest sit-down restaurant you can get is all the way over in Frontier Trail over by Steel Vengeance, which is also coincidentally a barbecue place that they just installed this year. So I don't know what the fascination with barbecue is, but it must sell because they got Famous Dave's. They got that place in Frontier Trail. They've got this new one coming in. So barbecue must sell pretty well for them to constantly being putting it in there.
Yeah, and I know you wanted to see a boathouse type of restaurant come in, and that didn't happen. But
that did not.
Winter Chill Out is tomorrow, and I find it very interesting that they did release this information prior to Winter Chill Out. Because in the past, for those of you who haven't ever been to a Winter Chill Out before, they have a Q&A session and a small presentation where they release a lot of new information, and the people at the event are the first people to know about that. Then once the event's over, that's when they release the actual article, press release, blog post, whatever it may be. So it really makes me wonder what they're going to release tomorrow that they aren't telling anyone yet, or is what released today on Point Buzz. Is this something? Was it leaked as an accident?
Well, and the other question is do they just want better questions too? Because
Yeah.
sometimes like you bring all this stuff on people and it doesn't really generate a whole lot of great questions because people are still processing it. At least now they can think about all these things. And like I said, go to these Q&A sessions and maybe formulate some better questions than what we've possibly seen at Q&A sessions.
Yeah. It's always, when are we getting a new roller coaster?
Yeah. Yeah, let's ask things that we can actually answer here, guys.
We just showed you everything new coming. What we didn't show anything about a roller coaster.
Yeah.
What? No, we're not telling you what's coming.
The second restaurant is going to be a replacement of the Midway Market. That there have been rumors that they were pulling out the buffet over by Raptor, the greatest roller coaster in the world. That they're pulling that restaurant out, and they are putting in Hugo's Italian Kitchen. And this is going to be an Italian restaurant serving pizza or a large open flame brick oven pizza. So that's a little bit different, a little bit higher end pizza than maybe just throwing something frozen through a heater or whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully that turns into, because I love like things like Blaze Pizza and that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out in the Cleveland area, and those are very good, especially if you can build your own pizza. I can't imagine what Cedar Point build your own pizza prices are going to be, but maybe we'll learn some more tomorrow.
So it's just your standard Italian stuff, with pasta, chicken Parmesan sandwiches, salads, meatball sandwiches, all the things you would expect at an Italian place.
Yeah.
Italian food is something that has come and gone at Cedar Point. I can talk to you back in the day, Hotel Breakers, where the Tomo restaurant is currently used to be a place called Dominic's, used to be Italian/pizza. Over where Melt is now used to be, I'm sure it was other stuff back in the day as well. The first time I went, it was called Macaroni's, serving Italian stuff, pizza, then became Joe Cool Cafe, kind of changed the menu up a little bit, still had Italian subs, maybe some pasta dishes. I think they ditched the pizza, though, when it became Joe Cool Cafe. I won't swear to that. But their Italian subs were absolutely fantastic at Joe Cool Cafe. One of the best deals in the park, too, because they weren't super expensive, not like the Subway place next to, Cedar Downs. But great food at those places. But since they've installed Melt, there hasn't been any place to get Italian food, right? I can't think of a single place.
Yeah, I think
you can get pizza, but that's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of a single place.
Other than if you get an Italian sub from that Subway, that's about it.
That's about it, right? So this is actually addressing something. Well, unless you want to go to, if you're higher end and you want to go to Bay Harbor Inn, you could go get some pasta, I suppose, of some sort. I don't think a lot of park goers are going to Bay Harbor Inn. However, I will say Bay Harbor Inn, I don't know if you've ever been there, has one of the best salads in the entire world. They have like a fruit salad with like mandarin oranges, coconut, some berries with this awesome vinaigrette dressing. Fantastic salad. One of the best salads I've ever had in my life at Bay Harbor Inn. So there you go. So I think both of these options here are really adding extra places, to the park that they kind of need, right?
Yeah, I am wondering how people are going to feel that liked going to Midway Market for the buffet.
Well,
if you have kids who are picky eaters, I mean, they got kids food, macaroni. I mean, they have ice cream, they got salad, they got really pretty much anything you can get within the park they have in there. So now I'm wondering, and I mean, with the season pass price, I think it was $15. I haven't been there in a while. So
real reasonable. Like that's
the last time I went there was probably a couple of years ago, and it was $15 for all you can eat. I mean, that's a deal. So
well, and I think I went there this year, and I know it was on the season dining plan too, but you had to pay an upcharge to go through. I think with the discounts and stuff for the season pass and platinum pass, I think it was still maybe $18. But you get a drink with it. A drink out in the park is, $3 something.
Yeah.
So right there, you take that down to 15. And like you said, it's all you can eat. And
yeah, because I mean, burger basket, you're paying probably $13 for, a drink, fries, and the burger. And You
And
can
the
have as
place
many
was
burgers
always
as you want.
packed. The
Yeah.
place was always packed, so it must have been an issue of probably wanting to charge more for what they're doing. Because the other thing is they would do during Haunt, they would do the Night of the Living Fed, and
Hmm.
that was a lot more expensive, and you pretty much got a lot of the same stuff. It wasn't a
Yeah, it was
whole,
just more probably because it was a themed
yeah. So
event.
and I always said, I'm like, well, why am I going to go to that over there? Like, yeah, you get like other, you get more meat options like chicken,
Yeah.
or but there's chicken on the Midway Market too. So it was like more high, like the next step up of food. If you think of like tiers of food, this was Midway Market was very basic: hot dogs, chicken, some meats, mostly taco stuff, corn dogs. I loved them. But Night of the Living Fed was like that next level up. But it was also more expensive too. So I don't know if that maybe is the impetus for this, that they're trying to maybe do more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I guess that leads us right into our next thing, which is the festivals. I think they're looking to, upgrade all their food stuff. So it seems, based on this, that this next festival is called the Frontier Festival. In previous years, they've done the Brews and BBQ stuff, and it's going to be during the same time period. So we're looking at, most of June is this festival. They're going to add some stuff like arts and crafts for kids. They're going to add some live entertainment possibly. But it looks like generally the same type of things going on here as you would see at Brews and BBQ, but maybe taking that stigma of beer off of it so that more families are attracted to this
Yeah,
event.
that would be my guess. I mean, if there really wasn't anything for families to do at Brew and Barbecue other than if you wanted to sit down and watch the Bluegrass Jamboree and use some of your food tickets to get the food tickets were split. You could use them between beer and food. If you're a family and the minimum number of tickets you could buy is 15, you're probably not using 15 tickets on a couple of food samples. It just really isn't worth it. So I'm thinking they're just trying to get more people over in that area in general. I'm guessing the setup is going to be totally different. I'm thinking there's not going to be as many beer and food tents. Maybe they'll all be more in one centralized location. There probably won't be as many beer selections just because they're not going to have as much room for all these
Yeah.
tents.
Well, and when I went to California's Great America last year, we didn't even know what was going on. We just stumbled into it, and they do the Red, White, and Brews Festival, and I felt like it's much of the same thing. They had half of the stands but you could buy two separate cards, where there was a food card and there was a beer card, and they were separate from one another, and it was right there, in the middle of the park. And I tell you what, I was there on a not a very, very busy day, and most of the people in the park were in that section. That, once again, you've seen in the Cedar Fair investor call, that festivals are one of the things that they are targeting to try and get people into the park to spend more money once they get into the park, because they've seen great success with this stuff over in different parks. Obviously at Cedar Point, where this where this Brews and Barbecue has been going on forever, but maybe taking that beer label off of it to maybe even, because when you're advertising out to the public, so it's one thing for people who are already in the park to participate.
Yeah.
They're not buying a ticket. But to get new people into the park, maybe taking the beer thing off of it might help a little bit. I don't know. Knott's Boysenberry Festival is one of the best events in the chain. Looks absolutely fantastic, and that's a very family orientated thing as well. And I think that's what they're trying to do here too with this new Frontier Festival.
I feel like the festival itself isn't going to bring more people into the park, though. I feel like it's more of just if they're in the park, it's something for them to spend more money on if they find it interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
for me,
maybe
having
pass holders will come in.
I mean, as a pass holder, I'll go. Last couple of years, I've gone to the park literally just to go to Brew and Barbecue. I wouldn't come early in the morning. I'd just show up later in the evening around when Brew and Barbecue starts, and I'd have
And
a
they
couple
got all
of
these new
rides.
they got all these new sports teams coming through, and once again, another way to upcharge these people as they walk through the gate. hey, go back there, have dinner. You start buying these little tickets and you don't realize what you're paying, as you're buying the stuff. Like you buy them all at once and it's kind of like you're at a county fair. You start giving out tickets to kids, start giving out tickets to adults, and all of a sudden you're buying more tickets, so you're not really realizing how much you're paying because you buy the tickets up front, but you start distributing and be like, oh, look at all this stuff we got. And I'll tell you what, at Kaga, I thought it was a great deal. I don't remember the exact price, but there was a pass holder discount on it. We got a ton of stuff. We had more tickets than we even knew what to do with at some points.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I still have some Brew and BBQ tickets left in my glove box in my car. I was hoping I'd be able to use them again this year, but it's changed into something new. So I'll have to buy a new sheet. So that plan didn't really work out too well for me.
And maybe that's why they're doing it. People are stockpiling tickets.
I know. I mean, now it seems like they have some type of festival event going on in every, I don't want to call it season because, I mean, really it's just summer and fall when the park's open, but every, I guess, month they have an event going on. I mean, May is pretty much just opening month. It's just the excitement that the park's open again. June, all of June, they're basically having this, what is this even called? I forget.
The Frontier Festival.
Frontier Festival.
Yeah, it's going to be real simple to remember.
I'm still going to call it Brew and BBQ, but whatever. But, I mean, June is all this Brew and BBQ Frontier Festival, and then July they have the Light Up the Point, all 4th of July fireworks, and that kind of seems to go through August, and then that's kind of like the only time where there really isn't anything, because in September Halloween Weekends kicks up, so maybe over the next couple of years they might add some other type of festival in around August towards the end of summer to keep these events going all season long.
Well, and I think that's going to be highly dependent upon, I know a lot of people are pushing in Ohio to move back the start of school to Labor Day. And Cedar Point would definitely benefit from that because now all of August becomes a lot more popular. It's going to present issues because we know that in August, college kids start going back to school. They lose a whole lot of their workforce. So it's going to present issues to now have late August be possibly, big operating days.
Yeah.
But I think in general, you start doing another event in August maybe. And I'm sure they're targeting that because they said exactly this in their investor call, that festivals have done well and Haunt is now the biggest season that they have. And they want to expand that to getting all these other festivals going.
And I mean, they've even added festivals after the park closes. I mean, not Winter Chill Out, Winterfest.
Well,
not at Cedar Point, but at the other parks, they're continuing to just add more and more festivals.
Absolutely, and we've seen Six Flags do the same thing. Six Flags after Haunt ends in October, they have like a Fall Fest now, where it's more food, more beer. It's kind of like an Oktoberfest feel to it. I've never gone to it, but I know Great America has been doing that for the last couple of years now, trying to extend that season, get more people in and upcharge them once they get there. So it'll be interesting to see what else we get festival-wise from the different parks this year. But I'm more curious to see what's going to be revealed tomorrow. Hopefully this wasn't all their ideas.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be. I feel like there's got to be more. Especially, I feel like there's going to be a lot of teasers towards what's coming for the big anniversary in 2020 next year. There'll probably be very, very, very small details given out because I mean they're going to want to promote that obviously all of next off season, and then hype it up towards the end of the year around Halloween weekends. To get people ready to buy tickets early and buy season passes for the following season. So I think the hype and the teasers will start, but then I think it'll die down until probably July, August. Mm-hmm. But it will be interesting to see what they do have to show tomorrow.
And like we said, we'll be back with another show coming up pretty soon here because you're going to go to Winter Chill Out, give us a whole rundown of what was said there. It's a whole new format, a free roam, an open world, if you will.
Yeah. Previously, you've had a tour guide. They kind of herd you around like cattle. You still have a start time. My start time is 9:30. So I guess from the email I read, you have about 5 hours to just
Yeah.
kind of roam the park. There's a designated eating time. They're having a meet and greet with John Hildenbrandt, the old GM of Cedar Point. He recently wrote a book, which I have, so I plan on bringing that. They said you can chat with him for a bit, get a book signed, and as always, they're giving us some type of goodie bag to go home with, and we'll see what happens. I'll be sure to take a lot of pictures. I'm sure we'll link them back to COASTER.net in the video description that we have for Winter Child, and then I'll probably also take some videos too. Maybe we'll put a quick recap video together, without us talking as much as you love to see our beautiful faces. We'll actually put some video together with some highlights of the tour, especially for those people who may not be able to ever attend something like this, because a lot of Cedar Point fans live around the country, and this isn't something most people are going to fly in or drive several hours, unless you're Andy or Danny. Then you may make the long trek, but
I've been to quite a few winter chill outs and Ride Warrior Club off-season events. I am not going this year, but it's always a fun time. So you're going to have a blast probably. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say there. So, but as always, that's going to wrap us up here tonight. I am Andy Rabarchak from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Steve Lynn from Cleveland, Ohio.
And as always, ride on, Ride Warriors.